देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराण श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपाम्बुधीर्यस्प्रमतं प्रपदं प्रपद्ये तमहं प्रपद्ये। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपासुरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। हरि ओम तत्सत। हरे कृष्णा। So we are going to read from Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. This is prologue, right? Which para?
It has also been stated.
It has also been stated that two thieves. Yeah, we've read that. It was
biographers and
14. Lakshmi, yeah, we have read marriage of Lakshmi Devi, daughter of Vallabhacharya. We have read that. I think it was at this time that he preached Vaishnavism at intervals. Am I right? From that para? No, we have read that. We read that. Gaya also we have read. First, read that. Yeah, we have read. We have all this read.
His biographers. His biographers.
Yeah, his biographers. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we have to read from this paragraph, his biographers. His biographers have described the journey of Krishna Chaitanya. That was the name he got after his sannyasa. From Shantipura to Puri in great detail. He travelled along the side of the Bhagirathi as far as Chhatrabhoga, situated now in Thana, Mathurapura, Diamond Harbour, 24 Parganas. There he took a boat and went as far as Prayaga Ghata in the Midanapura district. Thence he walked through Balasore and Cuttack to Puri, seeing the temple of Bhuvaneshwara on his way. Upon his arrival at Puri, he saw Jagannath in temple and resided with Sarvabhauma at the request of the latter. So, any idea who are his biographers? Hmm? Who are the biographers?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Before sannyas, it was Murari Gupta, I think, and after sannyas, our Swarup.
That Murari Gupta had kept in notebooks, in diaries, but the books that is the biography written by from that diaries only the biographies have been written. By whom?
Earlier past times, Vrindavan Das Thakur.
Mm.
And the later past times, Swarup Damodar Goswami.
No. Biography is written not by Swarup Damodar. He has not written biography. Biography written by Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mangala, Chaitanya Bhagavata. These
Yeah,
are the main.
Chaitanya Bhagavata by Vrindavan Das Thakur, Chaitanya
Hmm.
Charitamrita by Krishna Raj Kaviraj Goswami, and Chaitanya Mangal by Lochan Das Thakur.
Yes, they are the biographers. All the childhood pastimes taken from the diary of Murari Gupta mainly,
Yes.
and the sannyasa pastimes, all taken from the diary of Swarup Damodar. Okay, so they are the biographers. He reached Jagannath Puri. There he stayed at the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Okay. Who is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in Krishna Lila?
It is
Brihaspati.
Brihaspati.
Raspberry, yes. Okay. So he was a hardcore impersonalist before he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. So there's a very good pastime between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. It's worth reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anyway, Sarvabhauma was a gigantic Pandita of the day. His readings knew no bounds. She was the best Nayayika of the times and was known as the most erudite scholar in the Vedanta philosophy of the school of Shankaracharya. He was born in Nadia, Vidyanagara, and taught innumerable pupils in the Nyaya philosophy in his Thola there. What is Thola?
School?
Yes.
Is it like an institution?
Yeah, like school. He had left for Puri sometime before the birth of Nimai Pandita. Okay. His brother-in-law Gopinath Mishra introduced our new sannyasi to Sarvabhauma. Actually, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is also from Nadia. But before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth, he had gone to Jagannath Puri. But his brother-in-law, there is a good, conversation of Gopinath Mishra and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya never, he never accepted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's also very nice pastimes. Who was astonished, introduced our new sannyasi to Sarvabhauma, who was astonished at the personal beauty and feared that it would be difficult for the young man to maintain sannyasa dharma during the long run of his life, because so beautiful, so attractive, and it will be, all so many of them were attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So since he was young, he was afraid, who Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, that he will not be able to maintain sannyasa at that young tender age. Who had known Mahaprabhu from Nadia, had a great reverence for him and declared that the sannyasa was not a common human being. That the sannyasi was not a common human being. On this point, Gopinatha and Sarvabhauma had a hot discussion. Yeah, this is what I was referring to. Sarvabhauma then requested Mahaprabhu to hear his recitation of the Vedanta Sutras, to which the latter tactily submitted. Okay, so Mahaprabhu, heard from Sarvabhauma the Vedanta commentary of Vedanta, whose this thing in the impersonalist way of interpretation for 7 days. That's also very nice, very good. And Chaitanya heard with silence what the great Sarvabhauma uttered with gravity for 7 days, at the end of which the latter said, Krishna Chaitanya, I think you do not understand the Vedanta, as you do not say anything after hearing my recitation and explanation. So after narrating, or giving the detailed description of Vedanta for 7 continuous days, our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was quiet. He never asked any question. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was wondering what happened. Did he understand? So that's why he's asking, I think you do not understand the Vedanta, as you do not say anything after hearing my recitation and explanation. Even before that, this Mahaprabhu has taken sannyasa from Bharati Sampradaya, Keshav Bharati, which is considered to be a lower grade Sampradaya as per the Shankara school of thoughts or Mayavada school of thoughts. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, you know, since you have taken from a lower category of sannyasa, so I will reinitiate you again in a higher sampradaya. Okay. So this is what our Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told him also. So the reply of Chaitanya was that he understood the sutras very well but could not make out what Shankaracharya meant by his commentaries. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I understood the sutras, but the interpretation of Shankaracharya, you know, he did not understand, because all that is described or explained by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was all impersonalist philosophies, Mayavada philosophies. So to that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I did not understand the interpretation of Shankaracharya. Astonished at this, Sarvabhauma said, how is it that you understand the meanings of the sutras, but do not understand the commentaries which explain the sutras? All well, if you understand the sutras, please let me have your interpretations. So Sarvabhauma said, you know, if you have understood the sutras, but not the explanations or the commentaries, then please let me know your interpretations. Mahaprabhu thereupon explained all the sutras in his own way without touching the pantheistic commentary of Shankara. The keen understanding of Sarvabhauma saw the truth, beauty, and harmony of the arguments in the explanations given by Chaitanya and obliged him to utter that it was the first time he had found one who could explain the Brahma Sutras in such a simple manner. He also admitted that the commentaries of Shankara never gave such a natural explanation of the Vedanta Sutras as those he had obtained from Mahaprabhu. Sarvabhauma then submitted himself as an advocate and follower. In a few days, he turned out to be one of the best Vaishnavas of the time. When reports of this came out, the whole of Orissa sang the praise of Krishna Chaitanya, and hundreds came to him and became his followers. In the meantime, Mahaprabhu thought of visiting southern India, and he started with one Krishnadasa Brahmana for the journey. So the discussion between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is really worth reading. Okay, and you know, one particular that particular verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Atma Ramasya Munayo. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I think he explained it in 9 different ways, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you know, in return, when he was asked to give the interpretation for that particular verse, without touching the 9, you know, types of explanation that Sarvabhauma gave, he explained that particular verse in 61 different ways. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya could make out that he is not an ordinary person. He submitted himself to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in due course of time, he became the best Vaishnava of the time. That's what Prabhupada says here. So his biographers have given us details of the journey. So later then, after that, he went for South India tour with a servant by name Krishnadas Brahmana. His biographers have given us details of the journey. He first went to Kurma Kshetra, where he did a miracle by curing a leper named Vasudeva. So there is a person by name Vasudeva. He was having leprosy. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cured him also. He met Ramananda Rai, the governor of Vidyanagara, on the banks of the Godavari, and had a philosophical conversation with him on the subject of Prema Bhakti. So that is also very nice, the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, a detailed discussion about the topmost Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. This Prema Bhakti, the topmost that one can get into, is given only by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nobody else has given this. Shankaracharya could not give this, Madhavacharya or Ramanujacharya, anybody. So this is a special mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that keeps Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, distinct from other acharyas. He has given the topmost relationship that one can have in the human form of life. He worked another miracle by making them immediately disappear, the 7 tala trees from behind which Ramachandra, the son of Dasharatha, had shot his arrow and killed the great Vali Raja. Okay, Mahaprabhu. So this is also somewhere in there only in Andhra Pradesh. So he made disappear the 7 tala trees. So it is said that Lord Ramchandra during Tradayuga when he appeared, he killed Vali. King Vali also hiding behind that tree. Mahaprabhu preached Vaishnavism and Nama Sankirtana throughout his journey at Rangakshetra. Where is Rangakshetra?
Tamil Nadu.
Srirangam.
Srirangam. Okay. At Rangakshetra, he stayed for 4 months in the house of one Venkata Bhatta in order to spend the rainy season. So Chaturmasya time, he was in Srirangam. He stayed in the house of Venkat Bhatta, whose son is one of the Shad Goswami, that is Gopal Bhatta Goswami. There he converted the whole family of Venkata from Ramanuja Vaishnavism to Krishna Bhakti, including the son of Venkata, a boy of 10 years named Gopala, who afterwards came to Vrindavana and became one of the 6 Goswamis, prophets serving under their leader Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Trained up in Sanskrit by his uncle Prabodhananda Saraswati, Gopala wrote several books on Vaishnavism. So the Prabodhananda Saraswati is also very famous. It's the uncle of Gopala Bhatta Goswami, that is brother of Venkat Bhatta Goswami. Chaitanya visited numerous places in southern India as far as Cape Comorin and returned to Puri in 2 years by Pandharipura on the Bhima. In this later place, he spiritualized one Tukarama, who became from that time a religious preacher himself. Who is Tukaram? Who is Tukaram?
Sant Tukaram.
From where? Sant Tukaram, yes.
Gujarat.
He is from where?
Gujarat, right? Gujarat.
Pardon? No. Pandharipur.
Pandharipura, Prabhuji.
Pandharipur, very famous, very, devoted, a very good devotee of that time. Tukaram, Sant Tukaram, always chanting. If you see, there is a film also, very old film, black and white film of Tukaram. If you see that, you know his glories. Sant Tukaram. Okay. So who became from that time a religious preacher himself. Vittala, Vittala, Vittala. He is always chanting Vittala. This fact has been admitted in his Abhangas, which have been collected in a volume by Mr. Satyendranath Tagore of the Bombay Civil Service. During his journey, he had discussions with the Buddhists, Jains, and the Mayavadis in several places and converted his opponents to Vaishnavism. So wherever he went, he has converted everybody to Vaishnavism. Buddhists, Jains, Mayavadis, everybody. So it took two years, the whole trip of South India, and another 2 years he has visited Navadip and Varanasi and the place. Total 4 years he was in tour. Okay, out of 48 years he lived on this earthly planet, 24 years, his brahmacharya life. At the age of 24, he took sannyasa. So 24 out of 24 years, I think 6 years he traveled. 6 years. Total 6 years. 18 years he was in Jagannath Puri. And out of 18 years, 16 years, our, what is it?
Raghunath Das Goswami was with him.
Raghunath Das Goswami was in Jagannath Puri with him. Okay. And he used to give lecture in Vrindavan every day 3 hours. In that assembly, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was attending. And he was a great scholar and Kavi, he was aged. So all the devotees requested Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to write down, to keep it in record, because every day he is listening from the lotus mouth of Raghunath Das Goswami about Chaitanya Leela. So he was entrusted this job of writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. That is how we got Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is Raghunath Das Goswami gave pravachan every day and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote it down. Of course, he was 92 plus and he said, I did not write it down. It's all Radha Madan Mohan. He's telling, because at that age it is not possible to write such a great literature without the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So upon his return to Puri, Raja Prataputra Deva and several Pandita Brahmanas joined the banner of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was now 27 years of age. In his 28th year, he went to Bengal as far as Gauda in Malda. There he picked up two great personages named Rupa and Sanatana. Though descended from the lines of Carnatic Brahmanas, Saraswata Brahmanas, they are actually originally from Karnataka. These two brothers had turned demi-Mohammedans by their continual contact with Hussein Shah, the then emperor of Gauda. Their names had then been changed by the emperor into Dhabir Khasa and Sarkar Malik. Rupa Goswami was Dhabir Khasa and Sanatana Goswami was Sarkar Malik. And their master loved them heartily, as they were both learned in Persian, Arabic, and Sanskrit and were loyal servants of the state. The two gentlemen had found no way to come back as regular Hindus and had returned to Mahaprabhu while he was at Puri for spiritual help. Mahaprabhu had written in reply that he would come to them and extricate them out of their spiritual difficulties. Now that he had come to Gauda, both the brothers appeared before him with their long-standing prayer. Mahaprabhu ordered them to go to Vrindavana and meet him there. So these two Goswamis, very famous Goswami, chief of the six Goswamis, Rupa and Sanatana Goswami brothers. Okay, and one more brother was there, Anupama. He left his body, and his son is Jiva Goswami. Okay. So they were employed by Hussein Shah. He was the governor of that time, in Bengal. Oh, so he was actually they were very learned scholars in Vedic literatures, and they knew, Arabic, Sanskrit, and Persian and all very nicely, very well. And why did Nawab Hussein Shah recruited them? What was the reason? He did not get anybody else from his community. So what was the reason that they recruited, the Nawab recruited these two, from another Hindu community? What was the reason?
Brahmanical intelligence.
What is that?
Brahmanical class and intelligence.
Yeah. Yes, that is that. Apart from that?
They were loyal and very.
Yeah, they are loyal. They are very loyal, because of, as Prabhuji rightly said, they are from the Brahmana class. If they take up something, they are very loyal to their masters. They will not cheat. Whereas he cannot trust his own people. Nawab cannot trust his own people. They may cheat. So that is another one good quality of this Vaishnavas. And why did they accept, knowing well that they are all mlechas, yavanas, and working under them, they will be ostracized from the Brahmanical society? Why did they accept that? What was the reason? What made them to accept such a job under such people? Any idea?
Prabhuji, was it forceful?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, maybe.
Yes.
Threatening to
Yes, it was
the
forced.
entire temples.
Yes, exactly. Because the Nawab said, if you don't work under us, under me, I will see that all the Hindus will be killed and your temples will be destroyed. All the Hindus will be put into trouble. So they sacrifice their life, for saving the Hindu community and the temples and everything. So that was the sacrifice. And they were untouchable as far as the Brahmanas concerned, because at those days, if anybody working for some Mlechas and Yavanas, they will be ostracized from the society. They will not be taken back in the society. So that's why they wrote to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please save us. He said, don't worry. First they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramkeli. Then later Rupa Goswami left. He was allowed. Sanatana Goswami could not leave. He was imprisoned. Then we know how he left all these things. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saved them. So Chaitanya returned to Puri through Shantipura, where he again met his dear mother. After a short stay at Puri, he left for Vrindavana. This time he was accompanied by one Balabhadra Bhattacharya. He visited Vrindavana and came down to Prayag, Allahabad, converting a large number of Mohammedans to Vaishnavism by argument from the Quran. Because even now there are Vaishnavas by surname Khan. Okay, there are actually Mohammedans converted into Vaishnavism. The descendants of those converts are still known as Patana Vaishnavas. See, Patana Vaishnavas. Rupa Goswami met him at Allahabad. Chaitanya trained him up in spirituality in 10 days, directed him to go to Vrindavana on 2 missions. His first mission was to write theological works scientifically explaining pure bhakti and prema. The second mission was to revive the places where Krishna Chandra had at the end of Dwapara Yuga exhibited his spiritual lila for the benefit of the religious world. So 2 tasks was given to Rupa Goswami, to write the bhakti literature and also excavate the Leela Sthali, the pastime places of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay. And there he resided in the his spiritual leela for the benefit of the religious world. Rupa Goswami left Allahabad for Vrindavana and Mahaprabhu came down to Benares. There he resided at the house of Chandrasekhara and accepted his daily bhiksha meal in the house of Tapan Mishra. Here it was that Sanatana Goswami joined him and took instruction for 2 months in spiritual matters. The biographers, especially Krishnadas Kaviraja, have given us details of Chaitanya's teachings to Rupa and Sanatana. Krishnadas was a contemporary writer, but he gathered his information from the 6 Goswamis themselves, direct disciples of Mahaprabhu. Jiva Goswami, who was a nephew of Sanatana and Rupa, and who has left us his invaluable work, the Shad Sandarbhas. So this was the great work of Jiva Goswami, Shad Sandarbhas, as philosophized on the precepts of his great leader. We have gathered and summarized the precepts of Chaitanya from the books of those great writers. While at Banaras, Chaitanya had an interview with the learned sannyasis of that town in the house of Maratha Brahmana, who had invited all the sannyasis for an entertainment. At this interview, Chaitanya showed a miracle which attracted all the sannyasis to him. Thus, then ensued reciprocal conversations. The sannyasis were headed by their most learned leader, Prakashananda Saraswati. After a short controversy, they submitted to Mahaprabhu and admitted that they had been misled by the commentaries of Shankaracharya. There also, the Mayavada philosophy was refuted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All the Mayavada disciples of Shankaracharya, the leader Prakashananda Saraswati, along with all the disciples, converted into Vaishnavism there. It was impossible even for learned scholars to oppose Chaitanya for a long time, as there was some spell in him which touched their hearts and made them weep for their spiritual improvement. Sannyasis of Benares soon fell at the feet of Chaitanya and asked for his grace, Kripa. Chaitanya then preached pure bhakti and instilled into their hearts a spiritual love for Krishna, which obliged them to give up sectarian feelings. The whole populations of Benares, on this wonderful conversion of the sannyasis, turned Vaishnava and they made a massive Sankirtana with their new Lord. So this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu converted all the Mayavada philosophers into Vaishnava devotees. After sending Sanatana to Vrindavana, Mahaprabhu went to Puri again through the jungles with his comrade Balabhadra. Balabhadra reported that Mahaprabhu showed a good many miracles on his way to Puri, such as making tigers and elephants dance on hearing the name of Krishna. So he had to pass through the Jharkhand forest, all wild animals. Here, Mahaprabhu made them to dance chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Even they chanted, the wild animals chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra. From this time, that is from his 31st year, Mahaprabhu continually lived in Puri in the house of Kashi Mishra until his disappearance in his 48th year at the time of Sankirtana in the temple of Tota Gopinath. During these 18 years, his life was one of settled love and piety. He was surrounded by numerous followers, all of whom were of the highest order of the Vaishnavas and who were distinguished from the common people by the purest character and learning, firm religious principles, and spiritual love of Radha Krishna. Swarup Damodara, who had been known by the name of Purushottam Acharya while Mahaprabhu was in Nadia, joined him from Benares and accepted service as his secretary. No production of any poet or philosopher could be laid before Mahaprabhu unless Swarupa had passed it as pure and useful. So this was the condition. Anybody who brings scriptures, literatures, commentaries, okay, it will be first viewed by Swarup Damodar Prabhu. He will pass it, he will approve it. Only then Mahaprabhu will see it. Because so many times people brought Mayavada philosophies and Mahaprabhu gets upset. So it was Swarup Damodar Prabhu who review all the writings of devotees and approves, then only Mahaprabhu will see that. So that was the condition. Raya Ramananda was his second mate. Okay, first Swarup Damodar, then Ramananda Rai was his second mate. Both he and Swarupa would sing while Mahaprabhu expressed his sentiment on a certain point of worship. Paramananda Puri was his minister in matters of religion. There are hundreds of anecdotes described by his biographers which we do not think it meet here to reproduce. Mahaprabhu slept short. His sentiments carried him far and wide in the firmament of spirituality every day and night, and all his admirers and followers watched him throughout. He worshipped, communicated with his missionaries in Vrindavana, and conversed with those religious men who newly came to visit him. He sang and danced, took no care of himself, and oftentimes lost himself in religious beatitude. All who came to him believed in him as the all-beautiful God appearing in the nether world for the benefit of mankind. He loved his mother all along and sent her Mahaprasada now and then with those who went to Nadia. He was most amiable in nature. Humility was personified in him. His sweet appearance gave cheer to all who came in contact with him. He appointed Prabhu Nityananda as the missionary in charge of Bengal. He dispatched 6 disciple Goswamis to Vrindavana to preach love in the upcountry. He punished all of his disciples who deviated from a holy life. This he markedly did in the case of Junior Haridas. He never lacked in giving proper instructions in life to those who solicited them. This was seen in his teachings to Raghunath Das Goswami. His treatment of Haridasa Senior showed how he loved spiritual men and how he defied caste distinction in the cause of spiritual brotherhood. So, with different devotees, he behaved differently. He, by his dealing with different devotees, he taught us different lessons, spiritual lessons, various spiritual lessons. For example, his dealings with Junior Chota Haridas, and he's dealing with Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur and 6 Goswamis, especially is dealing with the Raghunath Das Goswami. So in every dealings, he taught us different lessons. So it's wonderful. So if you get time, please start reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. And those of you who don't have much time, at least read this teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Okay, anyway, we are reading, but if you get time, you can read yourself also. It's very nice. And somebody who are interested in Malayalam, there is a book translated by one devotee. What is his name? In Malayalam, Chaitanya Charidavali, Vaishnava Vaishnavat, I forgot his name. Very nicely translated Malayalam book, Chaitanya Charidavali. So if somebody is interested, we can provide that PDF soft copy also. You can read from that if you don't have a book. Chaitanya Charidamrita. Very nicely translated that. It's the essence of Chaitanya Charidamrita. Okay, so here,
Prabhuji, is it one book, Chaitanya Charitamrita?
yeah, it's one book, a small book, Malayalam.
Okay.
Vaishnavat Rama, Vaishnavat, I forgot the name. It's very nicely translated. That was the first book I read about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Malayalam.
I think yeah, it's Sri Vaishrava Nathu Raman Nambudiri.
Ah, yes, yes, same, same. Raman Nambudiri, very beautifully written. Okay, so here we'll stop. And today, whose turn?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my turn.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna. Yes. So, over to you, Mataji. Only you, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Vandana Mataji, may I know your Bhagavad Gita sloka number?
Sujay Prabhu, your voice is very low.
Okay. What about now, Prabhu? Better?
What is that?
Vandana Mataji, may I know your sloka number?
Can't
It's
hear you.
Okay.
I'm not able to hear Prabhuji.
Okay. Vandana Mataji, can I know what is the Bhagavad Gita sloka number that you have to cover?
I have to cover 1.41 and 1.42 Prabhuji.
Okay. In that case, may we do it earlier because ours is 1.36, 37, and 38.
No problem Prabhuji, no problem.
Okay, okay. So please go ahead. So who? Nichu? Nichu is going to Haribol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Can't hear you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Now we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Today I'm going to take the. Sorry. नमः मुझे पता है कृष्ण विष्णाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नीति नामिने नामस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश धारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण today I am going to take the class about 1.36 so until Until now, Arjuna has completed two reasons as to why he does not want to fight battlefield of Kurukshetra. So number one was his sorry over overwhelming compassion to relatives to his relatives. Now, reason two, he is giving enjoyment as a reason why he don't want to fight. Like he is telling that when he will win Kurukshetra war and when he gets the kingdom, when his all relatives are killed, how will he be happy? And reason three, fear of sinful reaction to let us see what he is going to tell. Slogan number 31.36. Papam evasrayad asman hadvaitam atata yina tasman nara vayam hantum dartaratram sa sabandhavam swajana hi Kata Hadva Sukina Swama Madhava Madhava. He is telling, oh Madhava. He is using this word God. He is using meaning of Madhava. He is the goddess of fortune's husband. So so and so Krishna, you are husband of goddess fortune. Why are you forcing me to actually going to bring me not fortune but misfortune? So he is telling, oh Madhava, we will we will be overcome by sin. The- there are six aggressors. One who sets number one. Mm, One who gives poison. Given poison, Duryodhana had give poison to Bhima when he was young boy. Number two, sets fire on other's house. He took away. Sorry, uh, he taking away others sets fire on others' house. Number three, one who uses deadly weapons against others. Number four, one who plunders riches. Number five, one who occupies another's land. Number six, one who kidnaps another's wife. One who kidnaps one other's wife. Mm. One who kidnaps others. Um, in in case of Rama, in case of Rama, in case of Rama, Ravana is not a relative, but in 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 sa- in incessor. So, but in case of Arjuna, all of his relatives, his grandfather, his brothers, and all are against him in the war. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Over. Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nichu.
Hari Bol, very nice.
Haribol, Nichu,
Hari,
Hare Krishna.
Hari bol, Nichu, Hari bol.
Hari Krishna.
Very
Okay.
sorry, കുറച്ച് confused. I got a bit confused at the class.
No problem. It's okay. No problem.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Nice. Very nice.
Okay.
You
Hare
said
Krishna,
nicely.
Prabhu.
Very nice. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Yeah. So, Prabhu, my turn for
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita sloka number 1.37 and 38. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यं मनोविष्णुं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदं
Prabhu,
Prabhuji,
you got
you are on mute, Prabhuji. Sujay Prabhu, you are on mute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prabhu, I'll just read out the sloka first. 1.37 यदि अपि एते न पश्यन्ति लोभो पहत चेतसा कुलक्षया कृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् and 1.38 कथं नाज्ञेयम् अस्माभिः पापात् अस्मान्निवर्तितं कुलक्षयकृतदोषं प्रापस्याभिर्जनार्दन. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So we are continuing with where Niranjan also spoke, and before that, all the speakers have spoken. Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Is is
Yes,
the
Prabhu. Yeah.
volume
Yeah.
low or something like that, Prabhu?
Fine, fine, fine. It's fine.
Fine.
It's loud and clear.
Okay. So Arjuna is continuing to have the fear of sinful reactions, and because of which he is not fighting. And Arjuna continues to speak on to Krishna, saying that the all the sons of Dhritarashtra, especially Duryodhana and his entire evil team, they are not able to pasya. Pasya means to see. So they are not able to see that kulakshaya kritam dosham, which means as per Arjuna, he can very clearly see that if Duryodhana continues his endeavor of conquering the entire earth, then what will happen? He will result into destroying his own family, which is known as the Kulakshaya. So they means Duryodhana and his entire Kauravas, they are not able to see the sinful action of Kulakshaya. So the question arises here is that why are they not able to see that they are heading towards Kulakshaya? So here Arjuna very clearly says that it is Lobha Pahata Chetasa, which means their intelligence is cut off due to Lobha. What is Lobha? Or we can say their consciousness or Chetana is totally taken over by the greed, or we can say the Lobha. As we very clearly know that there are six basic elements which are definitely enemy to every person living in this material world. What are they? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Matha, Malsarya. Right? Kama means material desires, you can say as a lust. Krodha is anger. Lobha is greed. Moha is illusion. Matha is pride. And Matsarya is envy. And we have also heard that there are three gates which lead us to hell for sure. What are they? They are lust, anger, and greed, or we can say kama, krodha, and lobha. So Arjuna continues justifying that since if any person's consciousness is affected by any of these six factors or the enemies of every person, then what happens? They are not able to see the things as it is. Basically, this six items steals away their intelligence. And what is intelligence? Intelligence is the ability to discriminate between what is right and what is wrong. So he explains that whenever any person is attached to these 6 points, 100% he is not able to understand the difference between what is right, what is wrong, what he should do, what he should not do, and he cannot discriminate between papa and punya, and therefore there is no clear distinction. This is exactly what has happened to Duryodhana. The final result and the outcome of all of these things affecting Duryodhana is that he is definitely doing the wrong thing, and the biggest problem is that he is not aware about that. So Arjuna goes on and asks Krishna that due to this greed, since he has lost his intelligence, he is doing the wrong thing. So he is definitely heading towards Kulakshaya. And he goes on to say that this is Mitra Doha. He goes on to say that this is Mitra Drohecha Patakam, which means it is not a sin, but it is a very deep or a very grave sin. And going on the next sloka, Arjuna draws a very clear comparison between Kauravas and Pandavas, saying that although Kauravas are not able to see the kulakshaya, or killing of their own entire family. But we are able to, Krishna, since we are able to see this and they are not able to see this, why should I really engage in this fight? And Arjuna also says, Papa, Arjuna says, Papat asman nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham. What does he say? He says that since they cannot see, that's okay. But since I can see, why should I engage in this war? And moreover, he also calls Krishna by the name Janardana. Here, there is a specific reason why Krishna calls Krishna as Janardana, because who is Janardana? Janardana is maintainer of all living beings. So the interesting fact here, which Arjuna is indirectly asking, is that, oh my Lord Krishna, you are the maintainer of all living beings, but you are asking me to engage in a battle wherein the entire army of both Kauravas and Pandavas are going to be killed. So instead of maintaining them, I am doing the sinful action of killing them, and therefore I may suffer the sinful reactions for that. So that is what is the fear in him, taking him to, like, that's the reason why he is not engaging in the war. Arjuna also says that they are affected by the Lobha Mata Chedasa, which means their consciousness is affected by Lobha, but mine is not. So I will not engage in the war. So he goes on to explain here that any person whose consciousness is affected by these, especially the Lobha, he would always be unsatisfied with whatever he receives. This possibly explains all of our conditions, in fact, my condition. Because we are always wanting to have more and more, a better job, a more paying salary. We want to have promotions like that. I would say the rat race continues. Why? Because our mind is more still connected on the greed or the lobha side, and therefore we always say more and more. We want more. This is a typical Duryodhana attitude. Why? Because he also wanted more and more to come to him actually. Whereas Arjuna also explains that those people whose consciousness are connected to incline to God, like in our case, like Krishna consciousness, so in their cases, they are happy with what they have. They are content with what they have. As a result, the saying that goes for them is no more, because they are satisfied with whatever they have. And with this, we conclude on this, wherein it says that this is the only way by which a person can really get away from this mad, futile rat race. That is the only way. And before concluding, I also want to explain one reason why Arjuna is behaving like this. Why? Because Arjuna is a devotee actually. He is not a devotee, he is a very elevated devotee. So a good devotee is always compassionate for others. So that is the reason why, although he is so powerful, he is having all the skills, but he is very um, compassionate, and therefore a compassionate person will not even harm an ant. What to speak of such a big army standing, in an army of all people standing, like in Kauravas and Pandavas. So he would never want to do that. So that was one of the reasons why his compassionate feeling is indirectly forcing his mind to not participate in the war. Why? Because even if he engages the war and kills all the people, and therefore he will win the war, but what is the use of winning such a war where I would end up killing all my own people actually? So that is the conclusion, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Rebol. Very nice, Prabhuji. Good.
Reward,
Very
Hare
bold.
Krishna.
Prabhu,
Very
not
good.
really not prepared well, Prabhu. Last minute, Prabhu.
It's okay. No problem. Nicely said, Prabhuji.
Uh,
Okay.
Over to Vandana Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare
English
Krishna
में हिंदी में
Prabhuji.
माताजी.
English Prabhuji.
Anything, whichever is convenient.
Okay Prabhuji. Little feeling nervous.
In one for
Okay. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Shivashadi Gauru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we are going to discuss verse 41 of chapter number 1. Sankro narkayev kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitro heyasham lupt pindodak kriya. So in this verse, Sujoy Prabhu is also discussed that Arjuna don't want to fight, and there was 4 reasons that Arjuna don't want to fight. He is saying if the war will happen, the family and the dynasty will be destroyed, and if the family and dynasty will destroy, then the religion will be declined and irreligion will go up. So Arjuna continued with the same thought in this verse. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestor of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. So, yeah. So here, Sankrunar, one Sankra. So here he is saying that Lupta means banish, it will destroy, and the one Sankra means unwanted progeny. He is saying कि what will happen if the progeny hellish situation will be created for whom, for the both person it will be created the hellish situation. Kulagna Nam, one who are present and at that time, and Kulasya Cha, and Kulasya Cha for the people who are responsible for destroying the family dynasty. Then it is going to be a hellish situation. Patanti Pitro Heyasam. Because of Varna Sankara and unwanted children, they are born in such a condition that they don't have proper care and proper upbringing, so they stop all kind of family rituals. So Arjuna is saying Pindodaka Kriya is stopped or banished. This Pindodaka Kriya performed once in a year, and this kriya is done for the ancestor who have passed away. For them, we offer this Pindodika Kriya. Pindodika Kriya is offering the food and water to our ancestors. Now, so Arjuna was a very cultured person. So now he was thinking if this unwanted one sankra will be there, so they will stop this pindodika kriya. So because of this fall down of this pindodika kriya in Vedic culture, people who have done the extraordinary things, they will go to the sarloka, but people who have done medium type of their religious activity, they will go to the pitraloka. So when they go to the pitraloka, the way to connect with our ancestors, so this is the intergeneration connection or link established process by the pindodika kriya. So our ancestor have given birth, become in that family, and they provide us everything. So that is our duty is also that we have to give back them. So how we will give back them? So by performing this pindodika kriya. So so we are so in many way we are doing the punya and the papa. If we are the doing punya and papa, whatever we are doing, everything we are exhausting in the swargaloka or the narka. We have the chance to do the punya or papa on this earth only, not in a swarga or narka. So in this type of kriya, so when we do that, they get the, so when we do this pindodika kriya, the my ancestor get the benefit. And Arjuna is seeing, so when this Varna Sankra rising, so Arjuna is thinking this pindodika kriya will stop and our will be family will be devastated. So that's why he is saying that putra is very necessary, because putra means he can deliver his ancestor from the hellish condition. So if Prabhupada is also said, if you are performing a devotional service, then you don't need to deliver this pindodika kriya. But if you are doing, you are not performing a devotional service in your life, then you need to perform such type of activity. So in this verse, it is Prabhupada is also stated in the Bhagavatam, Devarsi Bhutapta Narnam Pitranam Na Kinkaro Nayam Rinisha Rajan Sarvata Sarvatamna Yaha Saranam Sarnayam Gato Mukundam Parihartya Kartam. Anyone who has taken the shelter of the lotus feet of the Mukunda, the giver of the liberation, giving up all kind of obligation, and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties nor obligation to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family member, humankind, or forefathers. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by the performance of the devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now this 42 verse, दोषे रेते कुलग्नानाम वर्ण संकर कारकय उत्साधन्ते जाति धर्म कुल धर्माश्च शाश्वता. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kind of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. In this previous verse, it is explained that one Sankara people who are not following the family rituals, and they are not surrendering to the Krishna, they are not following the Vaishnava culture, Vaishnava culture, then they are responsible for the destroying the community and the family welfare activities. That's it, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah, very nice. Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Wonderful, Mataji. Very nice.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Feeling
good.
very nervous, Prabhuji.
No, what? Nicely said, Mataji. Very nice. Okay, good. So, any questions to Nichu, Suja Gaurachandra Prabhu, and Madana Mataji? Question should be to them.
Prabhuji will answer.
Yes.